Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hi, how you doing? So today, as you can see by the title of the video, I'm just showing you guys how I draw portraits. So the first thing I do when I'm drawing charcoal portraits is I use a piece of vine charcoal to go ahead and establish the preliminary lines. In this step, I am primarily focusing on the shape of the object and the space that the subject takes within the composition. The reason why I'm using vine charcoal instead of just going all in with charcoal pencil is because the vine charcoal is actually a lot more fluid and it allows you to go make changes easily compared to compressed charcoal. Also, using vine charcoal, I like to just play around with the object. I like to get an impression of where the subject will be placed and what the subject will look like. During this phase of the drawing, I like to ask myself what excites me about the subject, and I like to go ahead and accentuate it. For example, is it the shadow underneath her chin? Is it the highlights in her eyes that excite me? Is it the shadows in the hair, the darkness of her shirt? I like to go ahead and just draw out the shapes for those areas. Again, remember at this stage, we are only focusing on the shapes, not the detail. And I think it's also important to think about how the background plays a role in the composition as a whole. For instance, if you want a more dramatic, more emotional piece, then of course you would want to go ahead and fill in the background. At the end of the video, you'll see more about what I'm talking about there, where just even like a random color in the background, it will add emotion to it. Whereas if you just draw a portrait the way it is with nothing in the background, it kind of makes it feel empty. But anywho, when I am done drawing the preliminary lines, I like to measure out the photo. I like to figure out where everything is accurately placed within the face. So what I like to do here is use what is called comparative measuring. So just based off of the photo and based off of my point of vision, I can see that the top of the woman's head is the same distance. I can see that the distance between the top of her head and the tip of her eyebrow, or the brow line, is the same distance between the brow line and the very tip of her nose. Likewise, the tip of her nose is that same distance to the bottom of her chin. So really you could split the face up into three parts: the head/forehead, and then you have the nose and eyes in one area, and then you have the third area of the face, which is the very tip of the nose, the lips, and then the bottom of the chin. So that's how I went ahead and measured the portrait. I will go ahead and say I probably should have said this in the beginning. When you're drawing a portrait, definitely I don't recommend doing what I did. What I did for this portrait was I was drawing on my desk. Of course, I was standing up just to make sure everything is in its right place, just to make sure I'm obtaining as much accuracy as I can. However, if you are drawing sitting down and you're drawing at a desk, I recommend having a piece of paper which has the photo reference. Have it like literally right next to your sketchbook. What I'm doing right now is I have my sketchbook on the table, and I'm looking up from the table at the screen of my laptop. And this was pretty difficult. It actually makes things a lot more difficult when it comes to accuracy. So this is definitely a perfect example of do what I say, not what I do. But honestly, guys, you gotta do what works best for you. That's just my cup of tea. Take that with a grain of salt. But yeah. Also, If you guys would like to see the full-length version and see how I really break down the portrait, get my utmost tips and advice, then definitely check out my Patreon page. I am still editing the video actually. I wanted to go ahead and upload this YouTube video to you guys first, and then I'll go ahead and upload the Patreon video. This is actually the video you guys are watching. This is actually the sped up version, of course. If you want to see the unedited version slash like real-time version, I will be uploading that to my Patreon page. But yeah. Thank you.